We are live.
Oh, we are
We are
okay.
live.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, you
Oh, you
see,
got a long time in the see,
it's been a while.
The shame.
It's been a while, a whole week, a whole week literally since I've seen you. But it's been a while since we've seen our viewers
I know.
because we've been so busy with all kinds of stuff.
We can't do it.
Um,
We can't do it viewers that.
no, we have to do better.
We have to
We
do better than
really,
that.
really have to do better. But Leo is about the work of an author, so he has to do the book tours and so on.
Those
So
were great. Those were great. They're
yes,
still going. They're still going.
yes. So the tours continue. He's in the Canada side of things, So he has done multiple presentations here of the book. So just so you know, he's not just been missing, he's been busy missing. So
I expect your book to come out anytime soon too. So
I don't know yet, but you never know. You never know. You never know. So we are here, but it's been a while. So there's so much that has happened in the news, so much that keeps happening in the news, and we're gonna try to catch up, with all that has been going on.
indeed.
But good to see you. Good to see you. Good to
Yeah,
see you.
man. Same here. Same here. Same here. So I'm sure by now, since you've been off for such a long time, you have the topics ready to go, right?
So, so I'll say this much. We're gonna touch on some education stuff in Jamaica. We're gonna touch on the policing in Jamaica. And of course, we always try to keep it a little bit light. We're gonna have some culture conversations
So what the
because,
culture conversation today? You want?
well,
Yeah, keep it secret. Yeah, keep it.
it's not a big secret.
Uh,
I find it interesting what's going on with your friend Vibes Cartel. So we have to
woo!
we have to touch base on that and see what's going on.
Somebody blocked me.
Yeah.
Yeah, two people blocked me for my views on cartel.
Oh, okay. So we'll get into that
You know
after.
me long time friend, man.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get into that after because Leo, he has read this whole thing up and he sees the path that Cartel is on and he likes the path. So we'll talk about it. But yeah, so let's start with the police. I have a clip to
Okay,
get us going.
all right.
As some may know, there was a protest in Jamaica. It's what, 2 days now, 2 days ago.
Actually, yesterday, no, the JFJ,
The JFJ, Justice for
Jamaica,
Jamaicans,
Jamaicans for justice.
Jamaicans for Justice.
Yes.
They did a halfway tree protest in down in halfway tree in Kingston, and it was pre-planned. People knew it was coming, and we'll talk about the reactions to this. But let's see the clip from the protest.
Dressed in black with placards bearing the names of Jamaicans who've been killed by the police, it was hard not to miss the protesters who lined up at the entrance of the Halfway Transport Center.
You can't just go around and saying that, you kill 109 people in a month, or 2 months, or 3 months, and saying all of them is a shootout. There's no way the citizen of Jamaica, stupid and fool like that, to believe that.
Among the demonstrators was prominent attorney and human rights activist Bert Samuels.
I represent police officers who are charged, and some of the police are afraid of police. So they are law-abiding police who know the evil works of some of their colleagues, and they will tell me stories about the wrongdoings of their colleagues. So I big up lawful police, and I say time to incarcerate the murderers who may be using the police uniform and taking down people. We have a court system. There is no need for extrajudicial killings. If a man commits an offense, he must be brought before the courts and punished. The police is not jury, executioner, all in one.
There were others who wore blue in support of the police.
This protest is giving vice to the gunmen. The gunmen now are feeling that they have right to do what they are doing.
1,
2, 3, 4. We spoke to a counter protester who brought the funeral programs of her relatives and close friends who died violently over the last decade. 5, 6, 7. This next year, this one time because the year we get of this one. I am hurting right now, especially this one that happened in January of this year. She explained that there is need for body-worn cameras, but questions how useful it will be during operations. How are you going to go that time? When the mafia drop down and poof, 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 and how the camera going to go that time? According to the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, there are 105 fatal police shootings as of April 25. Zoe's cousin, 39-year-old Andrew Richards, is among the statistics. A firearm was reportedly seized, but the family is disputing this.
Well, we believe that we weren't there, so we can't really say exactly what happened. But the body cameras would be there to say exactly what happened. And for the man who was walking here just shouting and speaking complete foolishness, for him to believe that we shouldn't have that is crazy. Why wouldn't you want to, if the police is doing the right thing, why wouldn't you want us to know for a fact that they're doing the right thing?
Notably, we observed several police officers wearing the body-worn cameras at the protest. Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Mikel Jackson, says there is no denying the work of the police. However, she says there is also no denying a number of questionable shootings.
This is not a time for division. This is a time to stand with our police officers. They have been so great in doing our duties. But what we're saying, for those who break the law, we have to ensure that we have strengthened accountability to ensure that we can have justice better realized for the family members here.
As it relates to complaints that the JFG is supporting alleged criminals, Ms. Jackson says its mandate is to protect Jamaicans from the state's abuse of power.
For the Jamaican people who are too quick sometimes to label everyone as criminal, any one of us can come in conflict and contact with the law.
Jamaica Maitland, TVJ.
Well,
there's so much things going on in that video alone.
that's why I pick it. I felt like it captures the essence of what we wanted to talk about, because it was such a comprehensive clip. You got both sides of the coin, and you saw people's loss as it relates to crime, but also people's loss as it relates to the hands of the police. Leo, can you explain to me what is this resistance to the cameras? I don't understand it.
Well, it's a misunderstanding by police officers. The wrong ones. If you're doing things right, it doesn't really matter because you're doing things right. But the ones who are not doing things right are the ones who will question it. And most times they are the ones who have the ears of the higher authority, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it all comes down to accountability. Whether or not you want our police officers to be accountable for and whether or not you want peace among our residents,
Mm-hmm.
because it's important. Most times across police agencies across the world, police are always looking for a way in which to be at peace with the community so that the community can help them to solve crime, right? But if they don't care about that, and they care only about abusing or having their power used in these situations, then that's where the problem comes out. Because if you really are about abiding by law, then what a camera does, it captures from the moment you get out of your car, right? It should automatically be on. Right? Because there is a way that you can attach the car to your body-worn camera. So that as you put your foot out of it, boom, the camera starts rolling. If you give police officers the opportunity to turn on the camera, then they're probably not going to turn it on, or they're not going to remember to turn it on, or they don't think that it's important. But it comes down to accountability. If we don't give them that opportunity to turn on the camera, then everything will be captured from the minute you start having a conversation or an interaction with somebody outside of the car. And everything will be captured all the way down until you sit down back into the car, right? And so if that's so, then it gives the police better evidence to take to court, because now all of that is going to be downloaded onto a laptop or into a database, and it's going to automatically just write everything that's down there, and you don't even have to make a report. You understand? So it's more accurate. It's more precise. It brings everything about a particular case from all around, from all angles. So it's not just the police angle or the citizen angle, but everybody's angle. And that's hard for many people who are wrongdoers to get, because they don't want the other side of the coin. They just want their side of the coin. And so that's the problem. That's the trigger. That's the problem.
I think one of the things for me is that policing seems to happen in a gray area a lot for a lot of police across the globe. The act of policing citizens ends up in a gray area, and I think that is why they are afraid of that accountability.
Explain that for us.
So you go. Let's say you're doing a standard traffic stop. Police have a bit of bravado with them and a bit of tude and a bit of whatever. So sometimes they're even instigating instead of mitigating, instead of minimizing reactions. They're actually pushing fire.
Okay,
and
so that's not gray area. That's a police who's operating illegally.
Yes, but they will tell you that you can't just approach criminals a certain way. You can't just approach suspects a certain way. And so if you're just taking the camera out of context, right? And I'm trying to understand their lens, You take the camera out of context. Here is what went down. But you don't know that this person is basing it off instinct, maybe. Instinct is that this person is a criminal. I saw certain things before the camera turned on, and I'm going after them because of this. But also the way I police, the way I've been trained how to police, is to assume the worst first, right?
Okay. So there are two different situations. If you're at a police and you're on traffic stop, nobody should be assumed guilty, right? The only time you assume that someone is doing wrong is if you, in your mind, see something as a police officer that makes you think that they want. So they're suspicious, but then it can move from suspicion to probable cause, right? So the police can say that they are suspicious of a person because of something that they do, and they have to stop the car. So for example, he's driving down the road in front of him is a car that's going that way, dilly-dally, right? So he has a suspicion that they might be committing a crime.
But how do they usually approach that person, Leo? Because my thing is,
right,
if they start hot,
they're not supposed to start hot.
That's how them start.
That's why I'm telling you, if someone is dilly-dallying down the road, the police officer must be thinking two things. One, he's drunk or out of his mind. He's playing, or the car is out of control. That's all these things that should be going through his mind. No, if he thinks based on a particular move that there's suspicious or there's suspicion, then he's going to pull up next to the guy and say, hey, or he's going to call on his thing and say, pull over, right? And when he pull over, if he sees a gun on the seat, then that's probable cause. If he sees weed drugs on the seat, that's probable cause. All of these things, it creates probable cause. So he's going to tell him to come out of the car. But if it's just that the guy eyes look kind of woozy and it looks like he can't stop the car, then he's going to have to jump in to help him, not to instigate violence, right? So the police has a lot of latitude in their jobs, and they get that when they're on the street. But when they're on the street and they stop stop somebody, it can turn into a whole heap of different things. You can just give him a warning, you can give him a ticket, or you can lock him up in CCR under arrest, depending on what the situation is.
I think there is a fear that the camera will expose the way in which they think or treat
accountability. That's right.
The average citizen. And I don't mean that even if they're overly bad cop. I just think how policing is done. I am in Canada, and I've only encountered police in traffic stops, ride programs or whatever. They're checking if people are drinking and driving or whatever. I try to avoid the police otherwise. So I have never come upon any of those traffic stops where the police even is calm. Like in Canada, not calm at all, ready for a fight, ready for a battle. And I don't know what that is. And that's why I'm saying, they start their job hot. They start their job expecting that all of us are suspects. They start in that way. So turning on the camera only will showcase to the rest of the world that they come at a situation kind of flaming. They don't
and there goes something wrong, right? Because if they're coming out and they are already hot, they shouldn't be on the street.
Yeah.
Because there's something mental going on, there's something emotional going on. And they shouldn't be on the street. But
that will be the
how are you gonna stop them?
That will be the push.
Stop them. You have to know, curtail them with a camera. If they know that their camera is on, then they're going to change the way that they behave on the radio. And I think that's what this is all about. A camera on the car, a camera on the body, a camera anywhere will and should cause them to adjust their behavior. If it doesn't adjust their behavior, then there's a problem with that police officer. And if there's a problem with that police officer, then they need to be pulled in and talk about how they're addressing people. And that's what the camera does. It brings the playing field level. That's what the camera is supposed to do.
Yeah, I think we're looking at it from our lens as citizens. I think you will hear police say that it impacts their mental state if they're worried about how to approach each suspect.
That means they're not trained. They're not trained.
But that has been my feeling. That has been my feeling.
Okay.
The training is a challenge.
Yeah,
that has been my feeling.
Therefore, they need training. They need training because obviously, if they're going out on the road and they have the wrong attitude going out on the road, they need training because that's not the way policing is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. It's not supposed to be as soon as you pull up somebody, you draw the gun. Mm-hmm. It's not supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to be thinking, even though there is a evidence in video where people can be very harsh. But what makes it's like a chicken in the head? What makes them harsh? Because they don't trust the police. Yeah. Right? And so if they're harsh, it's because they expect that they are going to be treated bad just the way that you say. But if you think about it, that's not the way that policing is supposed to be going.
Shouldn't be, but that's how it is. And I mean policing has evolved because there was a time where I remember kids growing up, especially little boys wanted to be police officers. All of them, when you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Maybe be a police officer.
Yes.
You hear that less and less over time.
Yes. There's a media biz. Who's media biz? Are you there?
That's me.
That's
me.
Yeah, but
so we're saying good evening to everyone if you're just joining us. We're talking about the policing, the protest that happened from Jamaicans for Justice and the conversation around the camera, wearing of the body camera by the police.
So let me give you some ideas about what a camera should do. One, enhance accountability and transparency. There is no transparency without accountability, meaning that it covers everything, records everything, and when you download it, it downloads a summary or a detail of what took place. And when you are accountable to the transparency, then you are accountable to self, you're accountable to the police department, you're accountable to the people that you're protecting. That's one. Number two, it strengthens public trust. If the public knows that you adjust your behavior when you talk to them, because to be honest with you, I've gone right across Jamaica, and for the most part, I've only had about 2 bad encounters with police officers. For the most part, I've had police officers come up to the side of my car and say, "How are you, sir, today? Whatever," in a nice way. And sometimes before I drive off, I'll say to them, "I am very thankful for the way that you treated this situation." I have said that many times.
Mm-hmm.
I have never said that in America because I was afraid of the white man. If it's a black man police, then yeah, you know. But most times, a white man police who meet America always come with a straight face and a smile, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, because actually, by the way, that's the way they're supposed to be, because they're executing their job in a kind of paramilitary way, all right? So strengthen the public trust mean that you go there and you treat people the way that you ought to be treated if you get a stop, right? And when people see that you're transparent and you're accountable, it builds trust. Originally, there was a man who started the police business back in England back in the days, Wales, and he said there's no policing without the community. The police needs the community to be able to solve crimes and to help them to do their jobs. All right. So that's 2. It improves operational efficiency. So when the policeman has a camera on, right, he doesn't have to even think about what his report is going to be, because it's going to be done for him. So he just goes in, look at the details, and fill out a report. Just say who it is that him meet. If it's a black person, a white person, a brown person, that ever, what the age and all of that. Then the details is covered in the report, the database, right? Yeah. It also looks at systemic problems, the shortcomings. It looks at, it allows you to see yourself, how you are doing. Do I need more training? Did I treat me? Because it's training, you know. If they are using the details from the camera, the recordings, they can go into a training room and say, "Okay, guys, what did we do?
This scenario and how did we handle it?
How did we handle this thing here today?" Right? So it helps us to identify how we did wrong and what we did right. Other things, you know, and it makes you want to put things into the system to say, okay, well, is this something that we really want on the street? You can make recommendations. I want to change this. This would do. Got this now. I mean, there's so much that you can do with these cameras.
Yeah, we have a comment here. Gillette Rowe. Good evening, Dr. Gilling and guest speaker.
No. She's not a guest speaker. She had it.
They should have that camera on while they are at work, just like here in the States. Yep. You know, we have the benefit of being in North America, where some of these things are available and have been in the system for a while, and so we have the benefit of that. But we also have instances here where them turn it off. Them turn it off when them know them going to do wrong. Them turn it off, you know, for all kind of reasons. So but what is your feeling though on the people in the protests, Leo, who came out to say they are supporting the police because this protest is against police? As the protest organizer said, it's not even against the police. It is against maybe the bad ones, but it is for the police. It will help them to do their work better and to be safer.
First of all, let me clarify something. The reason I have an opinion about this, my dissertation was on the impact of body-worn cameras on citizens' complaints. So I have some little bit of knowledge there, right? But I watched the protest. I didn't understand a few things. First of all, before I get to your thing, one, I never understand why the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister come out saying that they're supporting the police, as though the protest was about bad police.
Yeah,
not
and as I
policing.
said to you, why did Fontana Pharmacy feel it necessary
Yes,
to
why?
come out and
And
say
why
let's
did we have
support?
100 police officers out there for a small protest like that? I didn't get all of that.
Yeah,
But it tells me though that they are indeed might be protecting something that we don't know of, because there's no reason for them to react. There's no reason for the prime minister to act on a protest. People have the right to protest in the country.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to take a side, because if he takes sides, then the people are going to look at you and say, so why you take the sides over there, so? Why is it that we can't protest and our voices heard? That just didn't make any sense to me. And so the people were saying the right things.
Yeah.
I saw even in this camera, in this picture just now, where the leader was joking around with a police officer.
Yeah.
I mean, so if that's so, it means that we have an understanding that this is a admirable protest. It's a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
Why would it need the prime minister to start saying the things that he was saying? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Don't need to pick any sides in the debate.
No.
I didn't understand the force with which this protest about the protest came out. I don't understand it.
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand it. What, you're trying to silence people? You
can't silence people.
People can't speak up. People have a different experience with the police force than the prime minister would have. You know what I mean?
When I saw the Jamaicans in the diaspora protesting the other day, right? Me never see the president come out and say they can't protest.
No.
All of these hundreds of thousands of people protesting on the street in the past. Me never hear the president say, we can't protest. Oh, I am support. No, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
They shouldn't.
Unless you're running a martial law or a police state, then that's totally different. But I don't think that Jamaica is there.
Yeah, we never know, you know.
So that was my view was not about the people, because I thought the people handled themselves properly. Some brought a video, some brought pictures, some brought all of the things that they needed to do to make their point, and it's okay for them to do that. Absolutely okay.
Somebody has a comment here. Orville Steele saying, total garbage argument. People are protesting the low crime rate. I don't think people are protesting crime rate.
What does he mean by that?
Come on, Orville. Come on, do better.
They're protesting the low crime rate?
Yeah, nobody's protesting low crime rate.
No, that's a totally different
unless that is tongue in cheek.
I don't get what do you mean by that.
Unless that is
it was clear that they said on paper that there are a lot of police killing. No, if you are associating 109 people in 2 months, in 3 months. If you are associating 109 deaths by police officers to low crime rate, that's a totally different argument. Okay, that's not what we're here talking about today, right? So you gotta get that clear.
Yeah, clarify, Orville, clarify. But in any case, I think it's interesting the posture that those opposed to the camera have taken. I really want to hear a solid argument against the camera. I have not. I really want to hear a solid argument against the camera. I don't even understand the people saying the crime rate, you have to let the police be free to do. So how does the camera stop them from being free to do that?
Yes, if they're doing the right thing. But let me say this. That there's something that I need to say, right? That someone took me on Facebook about the fact that there's a protest to try to find data as to how and what happened on these 109 killings. There's nothing wrong with asking for that data, no. Because if you don't ask for it, you're assuming that all the police officers who did the killing
were justified.
And you can't say that they were.
Yeah.
You can't say that they were. But so I challenged her, and I said, you know, it's okay to kill people until they kill your brother who's innocent, or your sister who is innocent,
Mhm.
and then you can't stop them
Mhm.
because they're on a rate. Because I am not saying that police is doing this now. I am saying that police have the authority if they can't present documents and data to prove that they did that correctly, then they can kill anybody and say that this person put up a fight.
Mhm. Mhm.
They can kill anybody and say that this person put up. It is the
And
thing that I fear
and the
most.
camera is a part of the evidentiary
That is exactly right.
collection. You know.
That is
So,
exactly right.
yeah. As Juliet Rose says, check. Juliet Rose said, check out the Prime Minister. He needs to be investigated. That's funny.
Listen, me now go this.
You know, I get we in no trouble today.
You know, I get me in trouble.
No, get we in no trouble today on that one. But you know, we're gonna wrap up this one because it obviously will keep coming up because you know if we're at 109 and the year is not half yet, I anticipate that there will be more cases that come up.
I say if you prove that one out of that 109 was an illegal killing, it's illegal against the whole country.
Yeah.
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 So me think.
Yeah. I think we can't even put a statistic to it. Like if on any situation there was a killing that was not justifiable, we have to be able to stand up for that as citizens.
Absolutely.
Because it could be us any day.
Could be us.
Could be us. It could be our family members any day.
Indeed.
We can't have lawlessness among the law enforcement. It don't make sense.
Indeed.
You know. Anyway, we're gonna move on. I think we should talk about the education conversation.
Tell me about it. Draw me tongue today.
I won't draw your tongue, but so it seems to me, and I'm gonna play a game. The teachers don't want to be regulated, Leo. Tell me about it. The teachers don't want to have to be re-licensed. The teachers don't want to have to be retested. The teachers don't want to show that they are top of class 5 years later and 10 years later. Talk to me, Leo. What is the problem that the teachers have? I know they have a problem with migration. I know they have a problem with retention. But what is this about? What is this push? Here's my thing. I don't think the government is reading the room.
Is what?
Is reading the room.
Okay.
In the context of so many people leaving Jamaica as teachers to go abroad to teach, how this is the response you're going to come back with. We need the teachers to do XYZ, jump through XYZ hoop. That cannot be the timing. The timing off for me, just on a whole, the timing off. But then the conversation about this regulatory approach to the teaching faculty. Talk to me, Leo.
Well, I don't think the teachers are against being regulated. I don't think so. I think what they're against is that there are things in the bill, not no bill anymore. It's an act. It's a law now.
It's law.
Yeah, there are things in the act that makes it difficult for them to be teachers, right? And I only have one example now because I'm going to do some research while we speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's something in there. One of the reasons that bill was not passed in 20 years is because I sent you a thing, I think we should listen to it.
I did.
It's from the People's National Party at a conference yesterday where they pointed out some things in that act that they are going to fight, right?
Yeah, Dr. Kenneth Russell.
Yes.
I watched it.
Did you take the notes? Because I didn't take the notes.
All right. I didn't take thorough notes, but I know he was inferring that the cost, it's cost prohibitive, one, to have these requests for licensing and relicensing and so on, that
Yes.
teachers will be forking out tens of thousands of dollars
Every
on,
yes,
on the
and it's every
cycle.
5 years.
On
But
the, on the
the
cycle.
one that held up the whole thing, the one piece that held
Mhm.
up the 20-year thing, was that if your license run out
Mhm.
and you let's say the government did not renew it in time,
Yeah,
you're out of license.
you're out of license. You can't practice.
You can't practice.
That's like people who can't practice.
And if you practice and caught, you go
Punitive.
in jail for 18 months and $1 million. Right? That's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And so who wants to go to prison?
As a
you're
teacher.
trying to help your country.
As a teacher who missed
As
a
a teacher,
deadline.
who want to go to prison? I mean, I wouldn't want to sign anything like that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I
Yeah.
would never, knowing full well that something can happen. I may be out of a job, or I may be gone to prison. I'm not doing that. I really wouldn't be signing no job for that. No.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be my problem. It could be the ministry's problem why my license. And sometimes people are just teaching and don't remember to get it because they're so actively, And then there's another
The other
one.
thing he pointed out was the limitations on specialization. A teacher who may be good at math and chemistry and all of these
can
things.
teach other sciences.
You can teach other sciences. Is being
Physics and
told
stuff.
that you have to pick one.
You have to pick one at the primary school level.
Pick one specialty.
One. That means you have got to get license to teach another one at the primary school level.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And primary schools, for the most part, it's comprehensive knowledge. So you want a teacher who
can do all of these.
Yeah.
Indeed. Because kids get attached to teachers at the primary school level, and they're gonna want to see their teacher over and over for more than just somebody's saying something total garbage. Check out the Mr. Leo. I know you were going to laugh.
So she says, pay them when them teach them. Pay them when them teach and not owe them. Them want
okay. So they may be dependent on the money that they were owed up to April, up to this month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can't renew their license because they don't have enough money to go renew it. And they're out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
So they're creating unnecessary. I mean, I tell you something, I want to chat about this.
Leo, you are an advocate for educators and so on, so you have to advocate for them point.
The thing is, listen, I don't think the teachers don't want to be regulated. I think it's a good thing to be regulated. I really think that they need to be licensed, become professionals, to stand out from the rest of the mudding crowd and so forth. And so, but I think that it has to be fair on both sides. And so it's like one time I heard one person said, this bill is like the road traffic bill, where the government had in the road traffic bill that if a baby is driving in a taxi, he must have a car seat.
Yeah.
Totally not understanding the what's going on the ground,
Yes. I don't know. I have a passion for teachers because most of my family have been educators. I'm the only one who never took the path.
You're dunce because you're dunce.
Yeah, me a dunce, but don't check study class, not a subject. But so when I see these things, I'm just like, why are we creating this quagmire for teachers? What is this for? Read the room. You are losing hundreds of teachers per month. Hundreds leaving, fly out every month. And you are worried about whether or not an excellent teacher is going to go do a licensing in 5 years. Come on, read the room. They would like, as the doctor pointed out in his presentation, they would like incentivized approaches from the government. how do you keep us here? Like, what are you talking about? Millions of fine and them foolishness. What are you doing? Talk to us about, giving us some tax breaks. Talk to us about allowing us to have some additional credit so that we can, afford housing. Talk to us about, creating an environment for which we will stay. Come on, man, read the room.
Yeah, I think that sometimes they are not reading the room, and that's a problem. The laws are not going to be good for everybody,
Yeah.
but it's good for most, and you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that it's going to be challenged in court, because it does need something.
Yeah.
It does need something out there.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I never thought teachers would be the profession that we would try to get, certification every 5 years and licensing. I didn't see it, but hey, if this is some,
and I say it's okay. I because in Florida we had to have a license.
Mhm,
In certain states we have to have a license.
mhm.
Some states you just need to have a bachelor degree. Some states require you, if you're teaching a particular subject, you need a master's and so forth. And at the tertiary level, definitely need a master's or a PhD and so forth.
Yeah,
But
which is fine.
yeah,
Which is fine.
I could see them saying, "I'll give you a license once you have your degree."
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of refresher.
Indeed.
I like that idea because
Indeed.
I mean, like, so my 9 to 5, I work in healthcare, so we know that it is helpful if people can kind of refresh their skills, because
Yes.
disease changes and
All kind of changes that
how
happen
we
all day
handle
long.
it changes. So similarly, I would like to know that we have made advancements on the Pythagoras theorem and so on. Like, if there's a better way to calculate your calculus, I would love to know. So it's cool. I don't have a problem with refreshers. I just don't like the punitive approach, especially
It's completely punitive. And
the timing. And the timing for me, Leo. Let me say, so uno no hear what one. Like, uno no hear say, teacher, leave the country. This is where you're gonna rest your hat. You're gonna rest your hat on pissing off those who are still there. I don't understand it.
There's something
Good evening,
else.
Mark Hayes saying good evening.
Mark, hey Mark, how you doing? There was something else, and I need to, say when I get old, the things them come in the head and then just go like so. Just God.
Yeah.
And so there was something that I was you brought up a point a while ago about licensing, but it's important that we keep our teachers, and I don't think this act here is one that is geared to help us to teach them.
Retention.
To retain them. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mark Hayes says, I have no love for Pythagoras or the theorem.
Mark, I know you're one of the 82% math student who did not pass math, because do you know that there's argument that only 18% of the students who took the CSEC last year passed math.
Leo, that was a very, very low percentage, Leo. When me hear my belly bottom hurt me, they say 18% in the whole island. The whole island. I don't just mean one little section.
Some things. I couldn't
believe it when I heard. I couldn't believe it. Me almost knock out. Yeah, I was one of them that never do well in math. I had to redo. I had to redo math.
82%.
Come here, big man.
82%.
I will admit it. I had to redo math. But yeah, them don't teach math the right way at Cornwall. Okay, Mark. Mark is at Cornwall, yeah?
They are CC, man.
Didn't know. Okay. So yeah, it's interesting. And like the policing issue, this continues because these are essentials in our
Services
countries. These are essentials. Policing for safety, teaching for education and development. These are
and
essentials.
nursing for health.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
nursing
another
for
one.
health. So and
So,
these three are the ones we have a problem with. These
indeed.
three are the ones that are
Yeah.
being
So,
mismanaged.
so one thing you don't know for about nursing, right? We don't have a nurse trainer in our country.
Mm,
We don't have an oncology nurse in our country.
mm,
We don't have any nurse down there who can take care of the people who have cancer.
mm.
So we are so short, and we're
Short
short
and
because
specialized.
every country is sucking up nurses wherever they are. Must suck them up like crazy. Just like them start suck up teachers. We have, hey, listen, there are teachers all over the world. And there are countries all over the world that are short on teachers. And so Jamaica is a nice little nest egg where they can come and grab up teachers because they're getting the best.
Yeah. Man, I know quite a few of my friends who are teachers who are in the States, and they were top form, like right now, excellent, getting awards and stuff in multiple states for their contribution to the education system in foreign. We're missing the mark, man. We're missing the mark on retention and missing the mark on, when we had the Jamaica Teachers Association president speak, he spoke about development, the connection of education to development, and we're missing the mark, solidly missing the mark. But anyway, as I said, these things will always come up. So we're gonna do some little quick bits now, quick bits and bites that came up in the news that we want to touch on. Leo, you sent me this article, and I had to look on the date of the article to make sure that it wasn't April Fool's. You say Hickey Police. Leo. The Hickey Police in Jamaica.
Read it.
Eyebrows were raised among staff at Jamaica's parliament after an internal memo warned that employees showing up to work with visible marks on their skin, colloquially referred to as hickeys, would face immediate disciplinary action. What you saying to me, Leo?
So the girl walking, or man walking in the parliament, and they are working inside the parliament, and they will come in with hickey on their neck.
So this is a problem.
I don't know.
Who this a bother?
I don't know. And it must be illegal, right?
Jamaicans major in minors, Jamaicans major in minors. Is the same parliament that have a problem with women wearing short sleeve, We major in minors, man.
Listen, don't come to work with no hickey on your throat. Do not. Don't come to work.
Juliet said, me not understand either, but me not sign anything that are gonna make me go to jail. Yeah. The brain drain is real, Mark says. No, honestly, when I saw the article, Leo, I said, no, man, I must say April 1st article. Let me look at the date. It was April 30th is on the article. It's today's article. The people said, don't come and work with no mark on your skin like hickey. Who cares? What are we doing? We major in minors, man. We major in minors. I swear to you.
Well, isn't that how we make our names? That's how we make our names,
Why Jamaica ever keep, as the young people say? Jamaica
always a keep.
Ever.
Here's another one. We'll read a one. Hold on. Because I want to know how they're going. How is it that they are going to try this case? Manchester man charged for decades-old rape. St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, a 75-year-old farmer has been charged with 3 counts of rape in connection with allegations of the sexual assault on a girl between 1980 and 1982 in Retirement District in St. Elizabeth. The Center for Investigation of Sexual Offences and Child Abuse laid the charges against Frederick Watson, a Trinity District porous Manchester man. Reports are that Watson and the female were living at the same address where he allegedly sexually assaulted her several times. My question is, I didn't say that this didn't happen, and I hate rapers, right? How they go and try it? They have DNA evidence.
I
They have,
doubt it.
they have video camera. I mean, no, I'm not saying that the charge shouldn't go, but they didn't tell me anything in this case that says why they pick up this man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a gentleman that just left prison in America a couple of days ago. He was there for 44 years, a white twin at age 14. The man was 19 or 20, said that he raped them and put them in the back of the car. And the way they identified him, because they couldn't describe the man, is that they put the man in a lineup. The police put the man in a lineup with an handcuff upon him, and the other 6 people in the lineup don't have no handcuff.
Yeah,
So
so obviously him guilty.
the court gave him 100 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Mark Hayes says, I'm glad that they're going after these old rape cases in Jamaica.
I am. But I want the evidence. Now, my problem is that we are bringing things to court and don't have evidence.
Yeah. This one is hard, you know, like in the States, they would say statute of limitations apply over 25 years.
I don't think it applies to rape and murder.
No. They had made an exception. It used to be applied to rape, but they've made exceptions now. I'm torn because, like you, I am anti-rapers. But you're right. You don't want people doing time for a crime that has no evidence.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be sticky because Jamaica and evidence collection already.
Isn't that my point? That is my point.
In a modern times, much less in the 80s.
They don't want the camera.
Much less in the 80s.
1980 to 82, right?
Yeah, it's hard. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a hard.
That's my point.
It's gonna be a hard case. I don't know. I'd hedge a bet that there's no evidence. I'd hedge a bet that there's no evidence. So they might be hoping for a confession at this point.
Indeed.
But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even confessions don't work, Confessions can be coerced.
Yeah, they can make under duress.
Make it so hard for the old man at 75 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mark says, don't know if there is any eyewitness. If there's
didn't say anything about that. It says they charged him because the woman made a complaint.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to hear victims. So it is good that if she said this happened, that she was heard. That is good. And the courts have been hit or miss with how they handle rape victims. So at least she's being heard, and we'll see how it goes from there. But this is a hard case. If you're going back to the 80s in Jamaica and evidence,
I don't know what they're going to use.
I can't see it. I can't see it.
That is my point.
Mark says circumstantial evidence.
that might not even be there.
Maybe. I can't see it. And like Monica Lewinsky, who did save the dress. I don't see it. I don't see it. But yeah, hope it works out for all parties.
Yes, me too.
The other bits of news, this show is called Caribbean Currents, so we have to pay homage to our Caribbean people. Lots of elections been going on in Leo. Canada has
how come we don't hear nothing about Miss Prasad?
Miss Prasad has won again. She win again. She is Miss Prasad Bisesa is now 73. And in 2010, she had made history to become the first woman to head a government in an oil-rich twin island republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And yesterday, she became the oldest person to be sworn in as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
That is really nice. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah.
She's a fair person. She appears to be a fair person.
I have no comment. I have no comment. I don't know her up nor down. People in the island are mixed. This was a critical election.
It was.
I find it interesting that a lot of these elections are going back for some people. Like people go back for Trump and then go back for Miss Besessa.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is about, if it's a comfort zone thing for people or what. But I find it interesting. But it's a critical election because we're in a tariff zone now. And Trinidad has been reporting, Leo, I don't know if you know this, but Trinidad has been reporting low oil, what do you call it? What's the word for it? Like, their oil production has been down. Their oil production has been down for the past 2 years, 2 to 3 years. So the concern is that this oil-rich Twin Republic has challenges economically, and in an environment where tariffs are being put even on Caribbean countries, how will Trinidad turn, modify, and meet the challenges of its time? Because you can't only rely.
Do you see her managing that?
I that's why I say I have no comment, because when you're going to tout that the person is the oldest person to run, me concerned, you know what I mean? So we don't have no, younger minds on the ground that could have been put up for election. I don't like the old.
Hear me with the old. I don't have a problem with the old as long as they're mentally capable, right?
Yeah, because it's not even mental, familiar. It's a school of thought,
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who have that school of thought that we need to have new people. And I see the Democrats in America trying to make a move about bringing newer heads in and so forth. The problem is one of the fear that I have with too much younger heads is that the historical piece gets left out.
Yeah.
And that is such an important part of politics and economics and looking at what happened in the past and how can we use that to advance the present and the future. You understand?
Yeah.
And so we can't just look at what we have today and do a good job of, and so that's the only thing. So as long as they are capable mentally and they were ready, they've done. I don't have a problem with it, but I do understand your point.
So here's the thing. Mark says you don't always want better. I agree, Mark. I'm not even advocating for young, What I'm concerned about is that in these times I see people kind of clamoring for what seems safe. And so you're gonna go now to the comfort zone. She's been there before. She maybe she can hold the fort, maybe she can keep things stabilized, whatever that is. May it be so. May it be that she is a good choice. May it be so. But my concern is around having a understanding that you need a mixture. You need a mixture of
definitely
people who
I love the youth. I love the youth voice because they give me perspective.
Yeah, but youth sometimes are also selfish and self-absorbed. So it can't just be them, and it can't just be seniors either.
Indeed.
I'm just saying we need a mix that speaks to where we are now and developing for the future. So wishing Trinidad all the best, like how we wish all the other countries.
I wish Miss Prasad all the best.
Yes, wishing them all the best.
And then the people who are beneficiaries of her regime,
Yes. And Canada, where I sit, is also with a new prime minister. He was the one that was sworn in recently and will be sworn in now officially. As
I like him a lot.
Yeah, Mark Carney.
Yeah, I like him because he appears to be a friend just by his look, right? And then that alongside the fact that he has massive economic principles and economic knowledge behind him, I really like him. I really, really like him because I think that he will be that person to stabilize and at least stabilize and push the needle forward.
I like with Trinidad, I wish us all the best. In Canada here, I too I'm hopeful for him because of his economics background. I think we are in economic crisis, global economic crisis, and I think you want somebody who has at least the knowledge to come to the table with solutions for the country. So I've always thought that of the choices that were on the table, he was the smarter choice for Canada. That's how I felt. So, but we'll see, because he's likely holding a minority government. And minority governments in the parliamentary system means
a lot of negotiation. But I sense that he has that skill, though.
I think he has a skill, but what I noticed, Leo, in the challenge that I see in Canada, that if you had asked me 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said this. But Canada seems to actually be split. Down the middle. He barely eked out the lead. And that is scary. And this was actually one of the highest turnout elections. So that, for me, is something to be wary of, if for any new leader.
Based on what I've seen, I don't like majority.
Yeah.
I don't like, based on what I've seen in a couple of countries and what people do with majority government, I don't like it at all. In fact, I am of the opinion that we need to change the policy of letting the range go free flow and give one party 49 votes and the other party 14, or give one party 68 votes and give the other one 12, and so forth. I have a problem with that, because give people the okay to do wrong things, and they will. And whenever power is in play, they will. And so I just didn't like what I saw with, for example, how our government in America has the power, so they just push things through. Our government in Jamaica has the power, so they just put things through. It doesn't matter what else is out there, or what these pushing through things are going to be reflected on the populace. I don't like that at all. So I think that it's important that they negotiate, so you can go down the aisle and get people to understand your piece and move. I saw Obama did that.
Yeah.
And he did it very well.
But it's really hard to negotiate with people who have decided, like in the case of Obama, they decided to protest him. And Mitch McConnell, boy, may I tell you, America, Mitch McConnell destroyed, took a big peg out of your democracy in America, Mitch McConnell. Anyway, Mark says, right now the world has a giant global baby walking around without a diaper.
Not going down that street with you.
Me like Mark it up, Mike. Mark always give us a light moment in Caribbean currents. Love it. And Leo, I have to run because I have some things to do. But the last thing I wanted to touch on is your friend. You're one of your favorite entertainers.
Absolutely.
Vybz Kartel.
Absolutely. He's my favorite entertainer today because of the turnaround that he's making.
Yes.
I am absolutely happy to see, not because of whether or not he's guilty or is innocent, but because he is willing to change his life. And one of the big things that I saw him do, he moved from Jamaica because he says he wants a different life. I can't have it no better than that. That's the best decision me ever hear anybody make.
Yeah, so on the weekend, he was on one of the biggest streamers on Twitch is Kai Cenat, and Vybz Kartel was there. 100,000 people joined the stream live.
Blows and skirts.
Subsequently, I think the stream has reached about 1 million now. But live, 100,000 people joined because Kai Cenat is one of the biggest streamers on Twitch. And Kai Cenat love Vybz Kartel. You should see him. Well, people saw him on the red carpet when Vybz went for the Grammys.
Oh, that was him.
It was
Okay,
him that
you were
run
asking the
and jump
question.
and grab him, and yeah.
Okay, yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so he had him in his home on the live stream, and Vibes brought Spice, and he brought Ishana, and it was a whole lot of excitement. But as you say, Leo, what I can say is Vibes Cartel is seeking to capitalize on the shift that he's on. He's working the American media. He has
Big
been on.
time.
He has been on all the names. All
Yes.
the names have interviewed him now. He has a newly acquired accent in these interviews.
Oh, is that it? I never hear that. I hear it yet.
He has a different kind of accent now when he speaks, and he's trying to represent himself in a certain way. And you know, we'll see how
All
it
right,
goes.
let me ask you this because it's a critical question.
And he's also said he's not going to bleach anymore. I did a whole thought of things on that
Oh,
he
nice.
says he will not bleach anymore.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, he said that. He said that he was too young to understand that. I'm caught up in this stuff. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think America, every other country, gets it about Vibes Cartel, but our country don't get it? In terms of he's not a convict. And that's why we have so much media clamoring to get a piece of him. But we don't have that in Jamaica. We still have a whole heap of skepticism about him. What do you think that this is? What's this? Or is it that everybody want to talk to somebody who went to prison?
I think the prison thing is a factor, you know. We can't ignore the prison thing.
Yeah.
You know, and he made it a factor. Like my free, you know, Freedom Street, it was a part of the brand. A part of the brand is I have returned. I've been made free. So we can't ignore that as a factor. Like I don't think they would have talked to him if he did just fall off a shape and their country a plant gungo and stuff.
So you're saying that this might just be a hype that's gonna die.
Yeah. I think it's a hype that's lasting a bit. And it's up to him to convince people like me that there is more content to what is happening. There's more substance to what is happening there. I am not convinced that this lasts for him. Personally, I think he needs to ride this wave and ride it good, because like he's gonna be in Europe this year. He's gonna be in Malta doing 2 shows. He's gonna be on some big stages. Work all of them, because I don't know what 2 years from now looks like for him as an entertainer, to be honest. I think
okay, so I hear Beenie Man acclaim king and him acclaim king. Who's the king?
Leo, why are you going to start things at the end of the show? I take the 2 of them out of it and put a different name.
Tell me.
I put Bounty Killer.
King?
I put Bounty Killer. I think if you define king, and then we'll have a conversation. So define king
next year, next week.
Yes. So we can have the conversation, because we never did, you know. We never talked about this thing. So, and I know you're a music man, so let's talk about it next week. But somebody's asking, Juliet is asking if you're gonna go to the Vibes Cartel show in Fort Lauderdale.
No, I won't be going.
Leo supposed to be a front row for all of the show, them, you know.
I'm stopped there sitting there a long time, man.
I want to know if Vibes don't know say you're his biggest champion right now. You need to
I hope he knows that I am. I know that. I hope he knows that I am. But me was a regular on the street and on the stage entertainer. I was an MC for several years. Major concerts, all of the big concerts. I used to be it, but it gets too rough for me now. So
yeah. Those days, you know, leave it for some other people.
Leave it to other people, right?
Anyway,
thank you.
What's this? None of the guys you mentioned are that charismatic.
Which is not either. I don't think charisma and there's one charisma. There's probably only one charismatic big time artist in Jamaica. His name is Shaggy. The only charismatic one.
Shaggy has charisma.
Yeah.
I think if people see how people respond to Yellow Man, they'll know that Yellow Man is a king for many.
Actually, yes, he's charismatic too. Very,
He's
very
very charismatic.
Yeah. And he was a king.
Yeah, he was a king. I don't think Vibes is charismatic. I don't even especially like his performances these days.
But I don't think he's charismatic at all.
I think Bunty is charismatic to some extent. Like whenever I've been in a room with him, he has people laughing and engaged and so on. He's very much that kind of guy. Beanie Man is interesting sometimes.
I don't know that he's charismatic though.
I don't know.
Sometimes I don't think that Beanie Man says the things that he really wants to say. It gets mixed up somewhere.
Yeah. Sometimes he's being managed and sometimes he's not. Yeah. But anyway, we gotta run.
All right.
Another good evening on Caribbean Currents, and we hope you'll join us again next time. And have a good, safe evening, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for participating, Juliet and Mark and others who have been messaging and so on. And of course, you can watch us back on each other's respective pages on YouTube.
Facebook or YouTube. Yeah.
Facebook, Jamaicans.com, YouTube, MediaBizTO.
And I think we should go to Twitch too, if you have the ability to.
Sure. I'll look into it. And Leo, what's your page again on
search Leo Gilling. I'm the only Leo Gilling in the world. Nobody else names him.
Look at that. So you can't miss him. So follow us, keep up with us, and you'll hear more from us as we go. Take care. Have a good, safe night, everyone.
Bye.